Cyberbrainer is an online training platform designed to help individuals and teams learn the latest technologies and become certified professionals, producing a comprehensive learning experience.
Clear on that? Any questions here? So one different shooter. I will just show you what exactly it is. It helps you understand a little bit better as well. If you see number 1, I'm just opening 2 different salary plans over here. 1. This is for the US, and this one is more for Japan. If you see the compensation element over here, this is specifically your family allowance. And here, I have a compensation element. Just type to your CTC, or your offer letter that you might see. And if you move from one country to another country, obviously the compensation element is going to be different. So if you're going to be in India, it's going to be different. If you're going to be in the US, it's going to be another one. So from country to country, it is going to be completely different. It's never going to be the same. So if I have a compensation element, I say that this compensation element is called as allowance, because this is a family elements plan, or family elements compensation plan, which I'm going to be building for Japan. So the compensation element specific for this is called as allowance, and currency is called Japan, and the frequency is going to be monthly. And when I go to the US, the similar one for US, or that it is going to contain, is the compensation element, which is called as base pay. That's all. It's going to be very simple and lean over here. I don't have anything otherwise. And if I come over here for Japan, the family elements would be like 10,000 yen for spouse and 5,000 yen for each child that the employee has. And I'm going to be building specific rules over here, which is going to see how many children that particular person has, the legal spouse plus children, all those rules, and going to be building. A person has just one that says spouse plus 1 child is going to get an allowance of 15,000 yen. Spouse plus 2 children, 20. Spouse plus 3 children, 25. And if he's going to have just 1 child and no spouse, it's just going to be 5,000. 2, it's going to be 10. 3, it's going to be 15,000. And if the person has only a spouse, then it's going to be 10,000 yen per month. So this is typically how your compensation plan is going to be designed. Clear on this and the eligibility rules? I've just given it at a high level for you to understand how this typically works and how this is going to tie down to your compensation CT, that you see on your offer letter or in your organizations. Clear on any questions? Similarly, you can relate to so many things. If I'm going to put something for India, for example, if a person is working on a metro, say, for example, if he's out of Delhi or Mumbai, or I'm going to say that the person is eligible for a metro allowance for some traffic and fuel allowance. So my eligibility rule for that case could look like, if my work location is 10 or Mumbai, I'm going to give him a metro allowance of 2,000 per month. That's it. Very simple. And if the person the same thing in the US, I might say that for people who are working out of the East Coast because of the fuel and everything, I'm going to give them a monthly allowance of, say, $100 as commutation expenses. That's all. It's only for the East Coast. There, I could bring in something like a location hierarchy. So I can just tie down that particular location hierarchy to over here. And I say this particular person is working out of the location. And I can say US East Zone location hierarchy. So, which means all the US locations which are on the East Coast, I could say that I'm going to give them $100 commutation allowance per month. Simple. Clear on this, on how the compensation plan can be created or what exactly is the purpose of a compensation plan. And again, if I go to the compensation package, one employee who's assigned this compensation package may have multiple plans based on all of these eligibility rules. And this is the information that is going to flow across to the payroll team, where you're going to get your paychecks. And if so, because? See over here, the default currency in the bank is currently set up as INR. See, because this tent currency is set up as INR. That is why you see it as INR. And in a typical case, it will be based on the location where your organization's higher headquarters is typically. So, for example, if it is Facebook, they are going to be operating out of US. So your base currency, as we call it, is set up in US. For example, if you want to be implementing it for Nissan that is based out of Tokyo, you're going to have your base currency set up as INR. That is your piece, INR. So that is how it is. So you may not see all the conversions over here. Alright. So, like I was saying, the same compensation package could have multiple plans which could be eligible for a lot of folks. For example, I might create a compensation plan based on my location, because for India, my compensation plan is going to be different. So here what I would do is I'll create a compensation plan for team member INR where I could put in all the compensation demands for the basic HRA. So HRA might say that if you're working out of a metro location, your HRA could be like 50% of basic. Otherwise, it could be 40% of your P. C. I could write some rules like that. And again, if the organization is going to say that you are eligible for a fuel allowance if you're managerial and above, I could write a rule over here which is going to say if you're manageable and above grade, that you are eligible for a fuel allowance of, say, 1,200 or whatever is going to be the organization policy, per month. So all those rules and everything, I can just bring it over here and say that this is the compensation package for anybody who's working out of India. Very simple as that. And again here we have seen a compensation package, which is written at more of a job or more at a level. Based on the level we have these compensation packages. But this need not be the criteria or this need not be the life situation, because in a life situation, in a life project, it depends purely on how I'm going to be designing my system. When I go to my design sessions we have to decide how I'm going to be doing my compensation package, whether I want to have it at a geography level or if I want to have it at a grade or a management level, kind of a criteria. That's purely based on how I just go for the design sessions. But ideally in a real world, or recommended scenario will be to have these compensation packages set up at a geography level, because each country is going to have a different salary package structure. So it is also easier if I set it up at a geography level. It is easier for me to actually have this time down to my offer letter when I go for my hiring or when I go for my change of my name. Makes sense. Rather than having it at any individual grade or name, it always makes sense to create one package at least for country or geography level. Makes sense to you? Any questions? When you create the package, the most important thing I will need is a compensation plan. And this is a bottom-up structure. So when I create my compensation package, the thing I need to have is my grade profiles. And then, of course, the elements. First thing I need is the compensation element. Let's just say so, get it by if you are working for, say, India. And we are going to design a compensation package. For me, the first and foremost thing I need to say is, if you are working on India, I need to create compensation elements. Elements are going to be like a basic HRA, allowances, other things, etc. These are going to be the compensation elements. And then I need to create my grades, grade profiles, based on this particular grade. Who is eligible for what? Say, if you are a person that is at a manager, you will have the grade. Grade profiles will be reunited. Management ally, you will create a grade profile. And each of them will have a salary reach, which is going to be distinct from one another.
Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel.